How's it going, Giants fans? My name is Alex and my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo. Victory Monday has never felt so sweet beating the Baltimore Ravens. I'm still reeling. Yankees and the Giants won yesterday. Even the Jets won yesterday. The Mets didn't play, so they can't possibly win, but that also means they can't possibly lose. So in my opinion, it looks like all the New York teams did well. And it was a very, very good day for us, obviously coming off a huge dub over the Baltimore Ravens, a pretty damn good team. And Wink Martindale obviously knew how to contain Lamar to a degree. They really limited them from scoring touchdowns. We want to discuss a couple standout performers today, some grades, some individual stats, look at the offensive line who really played well and showed up and, how the Giants kind of managed to escape with a win here and some guys that we're really, really optimistic about moving forward. And, there's a lot to discuss. I mean, this was a game that the Giants once again won because of stellar coaching and execution and discipline and just ultimately more heart at the end of the day. And I think that goes a long way towards winning football games, Anthony. But before we dive into the individual grades, take a look at some individual performances and analysis. How you do today, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm still reeling off of that Week 6 victory over the Baltimore Ravens. Another come-from-behind win from the New York Giants. Daniel Jones with another game-winning drive. Who would have thought that Danny Jones would just turn into Mr. Clutch himself? It's almost giving me shades of Eli Manning in a way, and I don't want to get too carried away, but I'm so excited. It's been a really fun first 6 weeks to the season. Who would have thought the Giants would start off 5-1? Definitely not me. I wasn't this optimistic. I think I had them with around 5 wins on the year, like 5 to 7 at the max. So to see them already have 5 and already have more wins than they had last year, as many wins as they had last year, is very shocking to see. And again, it's just super, super exciting. We've got the easy stretch of the schedule coming up. This was the stretch that we were waiting for. We were like, okay, if we can just survive those first few weeks, we can totally go into the stretch versus the Jags, the Lions, and the Texans, and maybe pick up some steam going into the bye week. But now we're 5-1 going into that, which is just incredible. So, it's been a stellar start to the year for the New York Giants, and it's only up from here right now. I know all of the momentum is behind us. All of the fans are super hyped, super excited. The coaching staff is just doing a killer job. We're seeing players develop out of nowhere. Players you never would have expected to be making plays are making those plays. And so we're going to talk about some of those players that are making those plays, helping the New York Giants succeed and win these football games.
Absolutely. And there's two guys I want to discuss right off the bat. Two rookies, two just impact players against the Ravens. One of them being Daniel Bellinger and the other one being Wan'Dale Robinson. If you guys are a fan of this podcast, and Anthony, you can back me up on this, I've been a huge fan of Wan'Dale Robinson recently, and I've been, show him the love on social media and whatnot, and kind of waiting for this moment for him to make an impact. And he showed up to play, my friends. 3 receptions, 37 yards, and a touchdown. And he also graded out really well as a run blocker for a guy of his size. The guy's aggressive and he's strong as hell. 19 bench press reps at the combine. And he only played in 23% of offensive snaps. So 3 receptions for 37 yards and a touchdown on 23% of offensive snaps is absolutely fantastic. I think that we're looking at a player who's going to get more involved, get more snaps, more reps as we get going here, and make more of an impact because of it. And the Giants really are going to lean on guys like him and Bellinger. Bellinger has 3 touchdowns already as a rookie. I mean, we haven't had a tight end like this since Kevin Boss, Jake Ballard, Jeremy Shockey. You can look way back. It's really tough for the Giants to find reasonable tight ends who can not only receive but also pass block and run block. And Daniel Bellinger's turning into, he's not there yet, but he's heading toward elite category in terms of being able to run block at an elite level. If he can pair that with pretty solid receiving metrics, even like Dawson Knox quality receiving metrics, and just be a red zone threat for Daniel Jones, whoever plays quarterback in the future for this team, the Giants are going to be set at that position for a very long time. I'm very optimistic about his growth. Wan'Dale Robinson, yes, he's a little small. Yes, he doesn't have the biggest wingspan, but you get the ball in his hands, he's absolutely filthy, and he's taking those reps that Sterling Shepard's leaving behind, that Kadarius Toney's leaving behind, and he's making the most of it. Ultimately, if you're on the field, you're valuable. And the Giants got a lot of production out of him on such a small amount of reps, and I'm very, very optimistic about him moving forward. But, what did you see from Bellinger? What did you see from Wan'Dale Robinson that gets you excited? Because I know, from my perspective, I was very optimistic, very happy to see that they both got heavily involved. And these rookies are already starting to make an impact on a winning football team, and that culture goes with it. So, I'm looking forward to the future to see what they can continue to do and compound on that success.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you hit on Wan'Dale Robinson. If you remember in the pregame live stream, Alex, we were talking about what his impact could be in his first full game with the Giants. And I said he gives Daniel Jones an underneath receiving option, especially in the red zone. In the red zone, they needed that. They needed that guy who can just run to the flat real fast, run a quick slant, run a drag, whatever the case might be, catch it, turn upfield, and get into the end zone. And that's exactly what we saw. The New York Giants scored in the red zone with a quick flat route to Wan'Dale Robinson that he turned upfield and got into the end zone with. So that was the impact that we wanted to see from him, and that is the impact that we saw. It was very impressive stuff right there. I thought that Wan'Dale Robinson made some really tough catches. He did have one drop that was it was a tough catch in the first place, and it did go through his hands. It kind of looked like a breakup at first, but it did go through his hands. But that's not really what you want to use him for anyway. Those big jump ball contested catches, not really trying to throw them up to Wan'Dale Robinson too frequently, but they do happen. But every now and then, it will happen, but the main focal point of Wan'Dale's skill set is using him in that underneath portion of the field, and that's how he was used primarily. I trusted the New York Giants coaching staff to use him properly. I mean, they've done that with everyone. They're getting the most out of Saquon Barkley once again, Daniel Jones, even Darius Slayton is having a resurgence to his season and to his career, really. So Wan'Dale Robinson, they used him properly. He had a great game for his first full usage into the offense. So I'm really excited to see how they build on that and how he can continue to progress in the offense, get comfortable, and make more plays in the coming weeks. Daniel Bellinger, you mentioned him. I love Daniel Bellinger. I mean, when the Giants drafted him, I thought that he was a home run draft pick, or at least he would turn out to be. And so far, he certainly looks like it. He does look like one of the best tight ends that we've seen play for the Giants in recent memory. Honestly, he has been that good. And he is making plays as a blocker. He's making plays on special teams. He's making plays in the receiving game. And of course, think back to last week, he's making plays as a rusher. Crazy. Who would have thought? The tight end from the 4th round, San Diego State, random nobody that the Giants picked up. He's in here. He's making a name for himself. He's impacted the game in all 4 phases. It's really, really exciting to watch him get to work. And I think that he's a player that, as we continue to build this young team and add talent to it, he's a building block, in my opinion. I think Daniel Bellinger has already proven as a rookie to be a quality starting tight end, and he's only going to get better. So I'm really excited to see how he progresses throughout the rest of the season, throughout the rest of his career, and I think it's going to be a good time watching him grow. But then, of course, on the offensive line, we did enjoy Evan Neal's best performance of the season so far, which was a huge bright spot for the Giants. Evan Neal struggled a lot through the first 5 weeks of the year, but to step into week 6, have his best performance against a formidable team in the Baltimore Ravens, that's exactly what we needed to see. I know there was a lot of fans who started to get really worried about Evan Neal through his first few weeks and the performances that he was giving. They weren't very good. Honestly, he got totally wrecked versus the Dallas Cowboys. That game probably would have been a lot closer if Evan Neal played a better game. Let's be real. But he's learning. He's a rookie. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be a lot of mistakes, but he's going to learn from those mistakes, and he already is, and he's already starting to improve and become a better player. So, again, this is the easy stretch of the schedule coming up here. Hopefully, Evan Neal can build on this performance. Hopefully, the rest of these guys we mentioned can build on these performances, start to improve, and really hit that home stretch into the bye week, finish it off on a very high note for the New York Giants, and see where the season takes us.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Evan Neal. He had his best game in terms of grading of this season. He gave up 2 hurries, and that was probably one of the better metrics he's had. He was really good in run blocking, solid in pass protection. Played 64 total snaps, 34 pass blocking, and 30 run blocking. But look, the development of Evan Neal was always something that we had to take day by day, game by game. This is not something that was going to happen overnight. And we learned this already. If you were worried about Evan Neal, we always just refer to Andrew Thomas's rookie season. He looked terrible. Like, Andrew Thomas did not look very good. He gave up 10 sacks in his rookie season, and Evan Neal, is following suit with that exact same, kind of time frame, but he's getting better pretty quickly. He had his best game against Baltimore, was pretty solid across the board. Hopefully he can continue to mount and compound on that success. And I really think that this is a player who has all of the talent in the world. He's a big athletic guy. There were some things they needed to iron out, but the offensive line played pretty well yesterday, and they weren't running a lot of these play action bootleg screen passes. There were some true pass sets in there. They were running the football. They were getting creative. They were getting those 2 running backs in there, 2 tight ends. They had 1 wheel route for Matt Breida. I mean, they really just whipped out all the tricks to take advantage of this Baltimore defense. And even afterwards, Marlon Humphrey was basically, I saw him tweet out. He said, "We keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's not working. Go figure." And it's like, okay, like, clearly, we're under their skin. Their defense is kind of ailing. And I kind of get the sense that the Giants offense just kind of continues to outplay their competition simply due to coaching and simply because they're getting better and everyone else is getting worse. And I just really, I'm excited to see the continued development of this offensive line. Andrew Thomas gave up 2 pressures, but otherwise didn't give up a sack. He played that entire second half with a hurt ankle, and he was limping around. He was barely able to stand and get up, but he kept playing. He kept showcasing that toughness and that grit, and that's what you want to see. Ben Bredesen had one of his best performances. He graded out superbly, didn't give up a single pressure in the game, which was really, really exciting. John Feliciano was okay. Mark Lewinsky had one of his better games. In general, the offensive line played better. Every single week, it seems like they're getting better and better. And that improvement, it starts to accumulate over time. And I think Daniel Jones is going to be the recipient of that. And you saw yesterday, Daniel Jones had 3 touchdown passes over the first 5 weeks of the season. He had 2 yesterday against Baltimore, 1 to Wandale, 1 to Daniel Bellinger, both of them the rookies that the Giants just drafted, clearly indicating they're trying to get them the football. Those guys, and it's no coincidence, by the way, that those are the guys that are getting into the most opportune scenarios, right? Bellinger and Wandale Robinson, they're smart players. Joe Shane and Brian Dable drafted them because they know where to be at the right moments to get the football and score points. They know how to execute. They know how to listen to instruction, whatever that might be. Every GM drafts players that fit a specific mold they're looking for, fit the sheet that they have or the variables that they kind of set out. And Wandale and Daniel Bellinger clearly fit what they were looking for, and you can already see it. They're the ones scoring touchdowns. Bellinger has 3 touchdowns this year, 2 receiving touchdowns. So Daniel Jones has 5 touchdown passes. 2 of them, 20% of them, have already gone to Daniel Bellinger. So it's pretty impressive, or even more than that, really. So it's really, you're seeing that the rookies are getting involved. I think that's a huge sign and a huge indication that they're going to be impactful players in the future. But the offensive line is also gelling too. So that's also really optimistic in terms of how they're going to use Saquon Barkley, how Daniel Jones can continue to improve and kind of see that development. And what did you think of Daniel Jones in this game? I thought he was pretty clean. He didn't do anything crazy. He threw the ball away when he needed to. He was pretty smart with the football. He had that 1 fumble before the half. I'm not blaming him for that. He was just trying to make something happen downfield. Altogether, I think that Daniel Jones didn't win or lose us that game by any means, but he played a game manager role. I thought he looked like a game manager. He did some stuff on the ground. He made the throws he was supposed to make, and ultimately he didn't beat the Giants. He didn't shoot himself in the foot, which is what we've seen him do in the past. And you're seeing that if a quarterback can throw the ball effectively, run the ball effectively, call the plays effectively, a lot of times you're going to see your team stays in the game. And the Giants did that. They stuck around because their quarterback, Daniel Jones, did not shoot himself in the foot. And I think that deserves a lot of credit. And I think that deserves a lot of attention that maybe he's not getting. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on Daniel Jones are that he did play that clean, winning football game, basically. He didn't do anything spectacular. He didn't make any, crazy plays that just blow you away to win the New York Giants football game, but he also didn't make any of those crazy bad plays to lose them the football game either. He didn't throw any horrendous interceptions. He didn't throw any. He didn't have any terrible fumbles where he's just staring downfield with the tunnel vision and has no idea that an edge rusher is just coming to destroy him from behind paws. He didn't have any of those plays. He played clean football. He ran when he had to. He scrambled. He made some plays with his legs when he really needed to. He got out of the pocket. He delivered accurate passes, and he basically just did what the offense asked him to do, what the coaching staff asked him to do. The longest play from scrimmage for the New York Giants was only 18 yards. How they won a game when their longest play from scrimmage was only 18 yards is beside me. But they did it. They pulled off the win. And that has to do with the fact that they won the time of possession and they won the turnover battle, which were 2 major keys that we brought up in that pregame live stream, Alex. We talked about how the Giants have to control this game. Play clean football because that's winning football. Protect the ball. Maintain the ball. Get the ball in the end zone. They converted their red zone opportunities. Daniel Jones was a part of that. He threw some touchdowns in the red zone. So that was the major thing for Daniel Jones. He just actually needed to go out there and play a clean game, not be the reason that the Giants lose, and he wasn't. He was one of the reasons that they won because he didn't put the ball in harm's way, and he did exactly what the coaching staff asked of him. Again, all of the routes were pretty much just right in front of him. Underneath, he just had to make some quick outs, some quick slants, some drag routes, all that kind of good stuff, some flat routes, some screens. That's really it. He just had to play safe. He didn't have to take shots downfield and be super aggressive. Some offenses, you're required to do that against certain defenses. But the Giants had the right game plan in place against this team to go ahead and get the win against the Ravens. And it really was just playing a conservative offensive football game. And Daniel Jones constructed that offense, the conservative game plan, he brought it out to fruition in the perfect way. So I was impressed by his performance. No, it wasn't a stat sheet stuffer or anything like that. It wasn't, oh my God, Daniel Jones is the MVP. Nothing like that. But it was Daniel Jones as a quality quarterback that's capable of putting his team in position to win the games. Again, he didn't necessarily win it for them, but he did put together the drive to get the ball towards the end zone, 1-yard rush by Saquon Barkley for the touchdown. There was plenty of opportunities on that drive for him to throw a pick, to fumble, anything like that, and that would have been losing football. And that's stuff that we've seen from Daniel Jones in the past. The Giants will get down in the red zone, and then all of a sudden, Daniel Jones just throws the most mind-boggling interception you've ever seen. But we haven't seen that this year, and we definitely didn't see it against the Ravens on Sunday. So that's ultimately how the Giants are getting into the end zone when they're in the red zone, because Daniel Jones is playing safer football, keeping the ball clean, playing conservatively, and putting the Giants in position to score touchdowns and to win football games. So yes, I was impressed with Daniel Jones's performance. It wasn't anything truly spectacular and mind-blowing, but it was enough to get the job done, and get the job done the New York Giants did, and that's why they're 5-1.
Yeah, I think some people might see this as a negative on Daniel Jones, but I really don't think it is. I think this is a testament to clean, efficient football from a quarterback. And I think that how many times Lamar Jackson beat the Baltimore Ravens himself yesterday? That interception he threw to Julian Love, that fumble by Kayvon Thibodeau, just a good play by KT. But Lamar made some mistakes, and that's why the Baltimore Ravens lost the game. Daniel Jones didn't make any mistakes, and that's why the Giants won. And, pair that with Saquon Barkley running the football well at the end and the defense coming up big. And, that's winning football. That's the equation you need. And, just the secret ingredient is not beating yourself. The secret ingredient is winning the turnover battle. We know this. This is a true and tried thing, and the Giants are finally playing pretty clean football. And I think that's what's leading to all of these wins right now. And they have to continue doing that. But, you look at last year, so many turnovers, so many, even despite all the injuries, it's just clean football. And I think that stands out. But a couple of defenders I do want to discuss. Kayvon Thibodeau, of course, he had a tremendous day. Dexter Lawrence. I tweeted earlier this morning what Dexter Lawrence stat projections are, and it's actually insane. I don't know if you if you saw this, but Dexter Lawrence is on pace for 62 total pressures this season, 11 sacks, 17 QB hits, and 34 quarterback hurries. We're talking Aaron Donald level numbers right now. That's how well he's playing. Kayvon Thibodeau in his last 3 games has combined for 9 QB hurries, a sack, a fumble forced, 11 total pressures, and 2 batted passes. In the last 2 games against Green Bay and the Ravens, he came up big in the final moments. That batted pass he had against Aaron Rodgers where it hit him in the head, that only happens because he's so close to him. That strip sack against Lamar Jackson, he only happens because he's so close to him and he makes a play. Kayvon Thibodeau has come up back-to-back in big moments, and that is what we drafted him to do, and that is why he's deserving the recognition that he's getting right now. So I'm really excited to see him continue to mount on that and continue to develop and showcase those flashy moments. But another underrated player here, Julian Love. Julian Love gave up 31 yards on 7 targets against the Ravens. He had a pass breakup, an interception. He was all over the field, man. Looked like a freaking running back after that interception. Late in the game. And, Love has been one of those guys. We absolutely adore Julian Love here. And speaking of Dory Jackson was absolutely fantastic as well. Gave up 1 reception for 40 yards on 4 targets, essentially locked down. He's been tremendous. But Love, man, he is, in my opinion, probably the most underrated player on this entire team. And honestly, I think it's pretty justified. He fits so many different molds. He freaking went up against Mark Andrews, who's a future Hall of Fame tight end if he maintains this pace he's on right now, and played pretty well. With that huge pass breakup against Devin Duvernay in the end zone, he came out of freaking nowhere. He baited Lamar into throwing that interception late in the game. He is an incredibly smart player. He's a captain on this team. He's extremely humble, and that's what you want to see from guys like that. And he is a really valuable asset. I hope we sign him to an extension because I don't think he should be going anywhere. He is a true and tried piece of the heart of this team, and I really think he should be a part of the future as well. So, what are your thoughts on KT, Dexter Lawrence, Julian Love, some of these standout performers?
Yeah, these guys have been standout performers in nearly every single game for the New York Giants this season. Kayvon Thibodeau, of course, entering the lineup later in the year than the rest of them, but playing at a high level, in my opinion. No, he's not stuffing the stat sheet like Daniel Jones, but this is different. This is a rookie edge rusher. That is a position that requires a learning curve when you enter the NFL. And first of all, I think that some of those fans that were saying, Kayvon Thibodeau's not playing well, is he a bust, blah, blah, blah. I think they're kind of crazy, man, because I thought that he was playing well, even when he was silent and he wasn't, he just got his first career sack and it was a game-winning sack and we knew that it was coming, but he didn't have any sacks to that point, and I really just think that the sack statistic is a little bit overrated sometimes, because I saw Kayvon Thibodeau getting after the quarterback at a pretty frequent rate, making a lot of pressures, getting in the backfield and making plays, batted passes. It all takes time. Basically, you have to do all that stuff, and then eventually it'll culminate in sacks. But he was pressuring the quarterback already. He was disrupting the quarterback's passing lanes by batting down the passes. He was already playing well before this Week 6 matchup with the Ravens. But in this matchup, of course, this was kind of his breakout game. He pressured the quarterback a few times. He got the game-winning sack on Lamar Jackson. That was awesome. That's the stuff that legends are made of. That's where a beautiful career starts, is right there. A clutch, game-winning strip sack. That's where it starts. So for Kayvon Thibodeau, that was huge. We know that he's going to build on that momentum and continue to get better. But this is the start of it for Kayvon Thibodeau, and I'm super, super excited by that. But again, I think that he was playing well to that point, and I think he's going to continue to play well. Now we should expect more sacks to roll in, but I do expect him to continue to increase that pressure output. Since he's already getting after the quarterback, it'll only continue from here. And the same thing with Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is playing out of his freaking mind right now, bro. He is elite. He is the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL right now. I mean, that's how well he's playing. You just mentioned the stats that he's on pace for. They are mind-blowing. All those pressures, I could see it happening, man, because he's just playing that well. He's getting a sack nearly every week. He's pressuring the quarterback like 8 times per game. It's absurd. He is just balling right now, and it's been a joy to watch. It's always fun watching those big interior defensive linemen that you don't expect to move so quickly, move that quickly and make those plays, and he's doing it so often, so it's just so much fun to watch. And Julian Love, first year as a full-time starter in the New York Giants defense. Now, he's played a lot in this Giants defense. He started plenty of games in the past, but he's never been proclaimed as a full-time starting safety on the Giants defense. Finally, he receives that opportunity this season, and he is killing it. He's crushing it right now. An interception to change the tide of the game, put the Giants in position to score and win the game. Baller of a play right there, and really we've seen that throughout the season from him. I think that Julian Love has been playing really well. Xavier McKinney, we love to talk about him, how we think that he has all-pro potential in his career, and he's definitely playing great, but Julian Love is playing just as good, if not better right now, and I'm super excited by that. Again, we love Julian Love. I mean, we interviewed him on this channel a few years ago. We've been following him closely since then because he's kind of a friend of the show, so I love what he brings to the table. I've always loved the versatility that he's had in the Giants defense, being that utility guy that fills pretty much every single role, and he's still doing that, but now he's doing it at a starting capacity game in and game out. We're seeing him play in the box and play a lot of hybrid linebacker. I've seen him line up in the slot, but we've also seen him spend a lot more time actually playing that safety position, his natural position as a full-time starter, and it's doing wonders for him and for his career, and I'm super happy for Julian Love. He totally deserves it. I'm so glad he's finally getting the recognition and finally receiving that playing time to put him in this position to make these plays, but he is making these plays, and he's balling out right now. The Giants have 2 really solid safeties on their defense, and it's very exciting to watch them play off of each other. Xavier McKinney and Julian Love playing really well together, and it's only going to get better from here.
Absolutely. And guys, I'd love to hear your perspectives, opinions, and narratives below in the YouTube comments about some of the players that we mentioned, any standout guys that we might have missed. Always happy to discuss and converse with you guys down there. That's what it's for. We appreciate all the love and support and any of the new followers and subs that have been tuning into the channel recently. We really, 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 really do appreciate it. So thank you for that. Guys, make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. Let's go Yankees tonight. If you're a Yankee fan, it might get postponed. I think it's going to stop running around 9 o'clock. So I imagine it'll start a little bit later if it doesn't get postponed to tomorrow, where there's a day off before the ALCS. But that would mean Shane Bieber and Nestor Cortez take the mound, which might not be ideal for the Yankees, but we'll see what happens, my friends. It's been a really good couple days, I have to say that. So enjoy this win, enjoy this Monday, enjoy the rest of this week as we look forward to the Jacksonville Jaguars, a pretty competitive team. We're projected to lose by them by 3 points. We'll discuss that tomorrow, probably. Just kind of disrespect the Giants are getting by the football analysts and whatnot, but I think I'll take it, man. I'm fine with being an underdog. I'm honestly fine with it. Keep doubting us. It drives this team. It fuels them.
When the last time I remember the Giants being underdogs that just kept pulling out wins was 2011-12 season. That's when it was,
Yep.
Man. I remember that season where I was like, the Giants are a good team. No one believes in us. We're the underdogs. And they had that whole big speech from Justin Tuck about being all in and being those underdogs, how the Giants love to be the underdogs. That year, it was the same thing. They were winning games, but everyone was like, they're fraudulent. They're not real contenders, despite their obviously winning record. They're beating everybody, but they're fraudulent. They're fraudulent. And the Giants just kept winning games. They went into every game as 3 to 8 point underdogs, and they pulled out all those wins. I'm seeing history. It likes to repeat itself. It's happened a couple times for the Giants. Who knows? I don't want to get too caught up in everything, but I don't know, man. It is very disrespectful to have us as underdogs against the freaking Jaguars. The Jaguars are not playing that good of football right now, if you could even classify it as good football. But the Giants are playing good football, and I'm expecting a solid win. I'm probably going to go to that game. I'm super excited. It's only an hour from me, so I got to find some tickets. But, man, I'm reeling again. I just got to say, I'm reeling. We're 5-1, man. We're 5-1.
Yeah, man, we definitely are 5-1. And yeah, look, I don't mind the disrespect. I think it's fueling this team at the end of the day. And look, the Giants have beaten really good teams. We know they can beat anyone. I kind of get the sense that we're like last year's the Bengals. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of feel like really well coached. They're doing a lot of stuff. They're surprising a lot of people. We're not doing it with an explosive offense. We're doing it with just elite level coaching to a degree we haven't seen. Kafka, Wink, and Dable, I have to say, might be the best trio of coaches we might have had in my lifetime. Like Spags and Tom Coughlin, yes, tremendous coaches, but these guys are getting a lot out of the roster. There's like lack of talent. We don't have Osi Umenyiora. We don't have Eli Manning, Justin Tuck, Hakeem Nicks, Plaxico Burress, Tiki Barber. We don't have any of these talents. We have freaking Daniel Jones, a banged up Saquon right now. Half of our receivers are missing in action. I don't even know. Our offensive line is still spotty. Our defense before the season, barely any cornerback support. The talent on this roster is half of what it was during those Super Bowls, and we're getting a lot of great results right now. I think the coaching staff, if not some of the best I've seen in my lifetime, equivalent to what we saw during the Super Bowl runs, if not maybe a little worse, if you want to be if you want to consider it that way. But, maybe a hot take. I don't know. I feel pretty optimistic that these guys are just playing out of their minds and coaching out of their minds. But guys, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll log off here, let you go. Enjoy the win and the positive emotions. Hopefully they'll be brought to you guys today on the standout performances and a little bit of an analysis and grades. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. We'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Giants episode.